Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantump. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're having a really good weekend so far. I am super stoked. I'm having a fabulous weekend. Pokemon is back. After a 2-year hiatus, Pokemon Regionals are back, and it's so cool to see. It's so cool to talk about. It's so cool to look at pairings and look at updates and things like that. Brisbane Regionals are going on this weekend. As I'm recording this, day 1 just wrapped up, and the top 8, it's honestly like we never left, right? Like Arceus and Mew are still dominating the format, just different cards now. So the top 8 is made up of Mew VMAX, 4 Mew VMAX, and then 4 Arceus. Top 8 is going to be happening tomorrow, which it'll already be wrapped up by the time you are probably watching this. So really cool. Then we've got Salt Lake City starting next weekend, and I can't wait to start really talking about and hammering in, zoning in on what these regional events, what competitive play does for the market. We're going to start seeing a lot of changes when it comes to TCG player. A lot of the cards that sell on a more frequent basis are going to start being staples, commons, uncommons, things like that, things that people need for deck building. So it's going to be a lot of fun to follow and to cover over the upcoming weeks. But in today's video, I'm also really excited about today's video. We're going to switch things back, covering some modern data. In specific, we're going to go over sealed booster boxes from the Sword and Shield block, and we're going to kind of go over the graphing details and market highs, market lows, see where they're performing right now. But then I added some extra spice in Sheet 2, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. It took some time. It took a lot of effort, so if you do appreciate it, please consider hitting that like button down below. Leave a comment. Those things go a long way for the algorithm. And one of the best things you could possibly do to show your support is just simply clicking that subscribe button, sharing the video. Clicking subscribe goes a really long way. We're on a trajectory. We are shooting for a goal of 100,000 subscribers this year, and it would really mean a lot to me if you could just hit that sub button down below. Thank you so much for that. With that being said, we're going to get right into things and kind of jump out. We're just going in order here, so we're going to start out with Sword and Shield and go all the way up to Brilliant Stars, starting out with Sword and Shield base. As you can see, like we've seen with some of these other products, kind of a horseshoe graph, right? So it started out at 235.92 was its high point. That was back in June of 2021, right when Pokemon was really kind of at its peak before it started falling off, and we saw a huge decline in pricing when it came to those reprints that kind of flooded the market at the beginning of December, end of November, and that's when Sword and Shield is no different. It dropped all the way down to 184.59, kind of at the end of November, beginning of December. Now it's started to climb back up. So when we talk about modern data and when we talk about where Pokemon is as a whole, right now, it's actually performing really well. I wouldn't consider this to be a down market. I think the price has really started to correct itself, and now it's starting to rise. And we can see that just by kind of going over a lot of this information, a lot of these graphs that we're sharing kind of on multiple times a week, right? Like we're talking about many different singles. We're talking about many different variants of cards, variants of sealed product, and you can see this trend of everything really starting to look like a horseshoe graph. So if we look at Sword and Shield, right now it's currently sitting at 222.16, so it's much closer to that high point than where it was at its low point. If we look at Rebel Clash, which is the second booster box that was released, second set in the Sword and Shield block, its high point it actually hit a week or two ago at 204.94. Now it's kind of right around that point still. The market price on it is still around 203, but its low point, which it hit at the beginning of December, much like all these other sets, was 173.39. Now that wasn't as great of a decline as what we saw from Sword and Shield or what we'll see from some of these other sets, but as you can see back in June, it wasn't too much higher than its low point of 173.39. Maybe it was hovering right around 180 or so, but right now really corrected itself, kind of showing that, hey, Rebel Clash is maybe kind of in low supply. 203 is its current listed price as far as market value goes, according to TCG Player. The third set, Darkness Ablaze, and Darkness Ablaze is always like the set to me that kind of released right before the giant boom. We had Darkness Ablaze come out, and then we had all this Charizard hype come out, and Champion's Path came out, and people were like, oh, let's go, and then things went nuts. Darkness Ablaze, high point of 196.83, which it actually hit at a very interesting time. It hit it right in November, right before all those reprints came out, which included Darkness Ablaze. We were not expecting a Darkness Ablaze reprint. We were not expecting a Vivid Voltage reprint, and whether they were reprints or restocks or redistributions, we don't know, but all of a sudden more product just started showing up at distributors, which then they were able to release into the field at LGS as we started having a lot more booster boxes hit the market, and then all of a sudden, boom, you saw this crash down to 97.87. So you could be picking up Darkness Ablaze booster boxes a year and a half after release, right around that $90 mark, which was really cool for a lot of people. That was right at the beginning of December, no different than what we saw with these other sets in the Sword and Shield block. So its high point of 196.83, which it hit in November, then shrank way back down. Now it's sitting at 125.86, still below MSRP, which isn't too bad for a set that came out, you know, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. So the chances of this getting reprinted, because it's most likely going to be rotating out of format, a little bit more slim. If we move on to Vivid Voltage here, and this one has had like 18 reprints, so this one is always very interesting to look at. Definitely a horseshoe graph when we start looking at October on, but as you can see, it was coming off of a reprint, so it already is, it's just got horseshoes all over the place if we were to extend this graph back for a year and a half, right? So if we look here, its high point of 170.39, it hit right at the beginning of November, end of October, but then again, we had that mysterious reprint that just kind of came out of nowhere, and like all these other products, it dipped down below $100. It was at 98.30 at the beginning of December. Now it's started to climb up a little bit, so its market price is sitting at 123.74. Again, still below MSRP, which is super exciting. These next two that we don't really need to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, because the supply is just so exorbitant. There's so many Battle Styles boxes, Chilling Reign boxes, Fusion Strike boxes that are in circulation, because it's just not a set that a lot of people are super excited about. Battle Styles just has a couple of really cool alternate arts in it, but outside of that, there's not a whole lot of hype behind it, right? So its high point, which had hit right around October, kind of what we saw with some of these other sets where low stock started kind of appearing, was 110. It dipped all the way down to $78.61. That's lower than wholesale for a lot of companies. So $78.61, which it hit at the beginning of December. It has since gone up a little bit, risen a little bit, and now it's gone back down a little bit. So right now it's sitting at 87.73. I do expect it to continue to rise, just ever so slowly. This is a box that if you're like, hey, Battle Styles is going to be up one day, it's slept on completely, you're probably right, but it's not going to be known as a slept on set for years. We saw this with like Crimson Invasion, where Crimson Invasion wasn't that great of a set, and it kind of sat at a very cheap level for a long time, and it took a giant boom like what we had over the past 2 years to really see an increase in price. If we look at Chilling Reign, kind of the same story, a little bit more exciting of a set. 158.64 was its high point, which again, it hit kind of in September, about when stock started stock started to seem a little bit low, but then we got a giant reprint. Wave 2 of Chilling Reign came out, really crashed the price of this, went down to $80.23 at the beginning of December, and now it's kind of climbed up a little bit, just slightly ahead of where Battle Styles is, sitting at $89.49. Then we've got Evolving Skies, which has gone multiple horseshoes because of the multiple reprints and because of the extreme demand behind this set. We just talked about this last week, but its market price currently sitting just below MSRP at $141. We do not have any current idea of whether or not there's going to be a reprint. We assume, since it's such a new set, since it's only 6 months old, 7 months old, that it is going to be reprinted at some point, but nothing has been announced or confirmed yet as far as booster boxes go. So its high point of 189, which it hit not too long after release, but before that second and third wave came out, right around beginning of October, middle of October, and then we had Wave 2 come out and Wave 3 come out, which really crashed the price down. At one point, you could buy Evolving Skies booster boxes for well below $100. Market pricing showed that it fell down to $110.33, and now it's gained since then up to $141.29, which is still a little bit cheaper than where it was a couple weeks ago, but still much closer to that MSRP mark. Fusion Strike kind of following the same way as what we see from Battle Styles and Chilling Reign. Not a whole lot of excitement behind this set outside of a few cards. Some really good playable cards in this set, though, which makes these booster boxes move a little bit faster than some of the other booster boxes, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So as competitive play continues to ramp up, this may be a set to at least watch out for and look out for because of its competitive connotations associated with it. $179.92, that is a market high price. That was way in advance of the set release. That is a huge pre-order price, kind of right when allocations started coming out or some companies started putting up their pre-orders. It was just ridiculously high, way over MSRP. Its low point of $89.47, which it hit kind of at the same, actually it actually hit the $89.47 just a couple weeks ago in the middle of February, it looks like. Now it's gained a little bit of that back at $92.30, but I see no reason as to why this set would kind of gain in price immediately. We're looking at Chilling Reign, Battle Styles, Fusion Strike as really long haul, long-term movers where it's going to take them a while to slowly rise. Brilliant Stars is going to be a very interesting set to keep an eye on over the next few weeks because Wave 2 has already been dispersed. A lot of companies already got Wave 2 in. They're slowly starting to sell some of their stock of Wave 2. This was expected not to come for another month yet. And as of right now, Pokemon hasn't said, hey, we're going to reprint Brilliant Stars and we're going to put more out there. There's going to be a third wave. None of that has been confirmed. So as of right now, 184.92, which was its market price way before the set even released, dropped down to 116.33 about a month before release, started to climb. And then when we hit that week of release, we're really close to MSRP right here. Now we've dipped down a little bit because there has been Wave 1, which some companies still had some leftovers of, and then all of a sudden, here, boom, wham, Wave 2 hits you right in the face, and now there's all of a sudden an extra amount of supply. But I'm going to show you why there is a little bit of cause for concern when it comes to Brilliant Stars in just a second here. So we're going to flip things over to Sheet 2, and this took me a while to kind of accumulate all of this data because we are looking at the amount of remaining stock that is available to purchase on TCG Player for these booster boxes, and then we're looking at the data from the amount of sales over the last 7 days. So how many booster boxes have turned over the last 7 days? So we're going to compare the percent sold. So it's going to give us our sell-through rate, right? Like that's what we're looking for, which keeps things very, very interesting. So if we look at the Sword and Shield block, there is 20 boxes that are left currently on TCG Player when I pulled this data. So I pulled this data late on Friday night. There was 20, and just one note, there's 0 of them available under $249. So that market price that we just looked at is going to skyrocket up. It's going to go way up because there's no available booster boxes below that $249 mark. Over the last 7 days, only 9 of them have sold. So not a whole lot of sales over the past 7 days, but that's 45% of the current inventory listed on TCG Player. So more boxes are going to be added, but really we're going to pay attention to how many of these boxes get added. What does the sell-through rate look like on a daily basis, weekly basis? Because if we're selling through more than half of our inventory every week on TCG Player, if half that inventory is moving, that's really going to cause that market price to continue to go higher and higher. Rebel Clash, there's 14 boxes currently available under $200. There's 48 booster boxes available in total. Only 4 Rebel Clash booster boxes have sold on TCG Player over the past 7 days. Now that tells me there's a lot better deals probably elsewhere. People are looking to buy them on different websites, looking to buy them on eBay, probably finding better deals on other websites. But it also tells me this isn't a popular set. The set isn't moving very well. Only 8% of the inventory on TCG Player has moved over the past week. When we look at Darkness Ablaze, now you're starting to get a little bit higher of a sell-through rate. 160 boxes that are available to purchase right now on TCG Player. 51 have sold over the past 7 days. So if we're looking at data from March 5th to March 11th, there was 51 booster boxes that have sold. That's 32% of the inventory on TCG Player has been sold through over the past 7 days. And I know there's going to be additional inventory that gets added. There's always companies that are adding more stock. There's companies that may just put up a few at a time. There's companies that may not have any that are finding some that then go and list some. But it's always interesting to look at because it really tells you what the demand looks like for an item. Vivid Voltage, 252 currently remaining right now on TCG Player to be purchased. However, 72 have been purchased over the past 7 days. So a decent chunk, 29% of that inventory has started to move over the past 7 days. And the fact that these are still below MSRP means people are starting to notice, hey, I still want to get these booster boxes while I can, while they're cheap enough, so I'm going to buy them for $120, $130, somewhere around that price, because it beats waiting and then having them go up over MSRP when I don't know if they're necessarily going to reprint sets like this again. Battle Styles, 715 as far as a quantity that's remaining goes. So this is our third highest amount available on TCG Player. Battle Styles, even though there's a lot of rumors that it's out of print from Pokemon, and there's still plenty left, it seems, at distributors, and there's still plenty left at a lot of LGSs. This is really the first set where LGSs were forced to take waves, so a lot of those waves, a lot of those allocations are kind of still left over. 659 of the 715 listed are selling below MSRP right now. Over the last 7 days, 58 of them have sold, but that's only 8% of the available inventory on TCG Player, so only an 8% sell-through rate. So not a very popular set still. Chilling Reign, also not overly popular, but there's a lot of available quantities. So if we look at Chilling Reign, there's 1,101 booster boxes available on TCG Player, far and above any other, or far and above any other booster box available on TCG Player right now. So just a huge amount remaining. However, a decent chunk has sold, 133 as far as quantity goes, but that's only 12% of the available inventory. So that tells me that even though this is a somewhat popular set that people like to buy at a decent price, it's still not really impacting the inventory total. So I don't expect this price to kind of jump up super fast. If we look at Evolving Skies, this is where things start getting really interesting. 50%, 56% sell-through rate over the last 7 days. We've got 483 currently listed on TCG Player, but 270, very popular set, 270 have sold. That means people are starting to struggle to find this below MSRP, whether it be on eBay or other sites. So they're going to TCG Player, they're buying up TCG Player's pricing, which is right around MSRP right now. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did see quite an uptick in Evolving Skies over the next few weeks, where we start looking at booster boxes selling for 160 to 170, 56% sell-through rate right there. 791 Fusion Strike booster boxes available, a little bit better of a sell-through rate. Like we were talking about before, this is a little bit more popular of a set than what we see out of Battle Styles and what we see out of Chilling Reign. A lot of that has to do with the ancillary cards and Mew. Mew VMAX is probably the best card in the format right now. So what set has Mew VMAXs in it? What set has Mew V? Fusion Strike. So that's going to start moving a little bit faster. 791 remaining. 148 have sold over the last 7 days from March 5th to March 11th. It's a 19% sell-through rate. So it'll be interesting to see as we look at things over the next couple weeks with regional events starting back up, if this sell-through rate starts going a little bit higher. Brilliant Stars is super, super fun to look at, because if we look at the quantity remaining right now, there's 326 available. And a lot of this has gone down in price because of people adding Wave 2, and it's kind of a race to the bottom right now, which really has demand up, and this set is still bonkers. If we're looking at the availability, yeah, it's going down in price, but there's only 326 remaining, and look at how many have sold on TCG Player over the last 7 days. 1,317 units, 1,317 booster boxes that have sold over the next 7 days, which is absolutely bonkers. It's a 404% sell-through rate. That's absolutely crazy. That just means very, very popular set. And unless we get an announcement that this is going to get reprinted and redistributed and whatever the case may be, that there's going to be more coming, it wouldn't surprise me if we started really eating up the available quantities right away. So if you're waiting for booster boxes of Brilliant Stars to drop down to about $100, $105, like what we saw for a lot of these other sets, I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to be finding boxes on TCG Player for $115, $120. Maybe if you look hard enough, maybe on eBay you might find them for $105, $110, somewhere around there. But I don't think we're going to be looking at $85, $90 booster boxes like what we saw from Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, and Fusion Strike. I could be wrong. We'll wait and see. You can let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Let me know if you like this information. Like I said, it did take me a while to kind of pull up the data. I had to count individually every line, as far as sales go, and kind of count individually every line as far as what quantity remaining was. So I hope you do appreciate it. If you do, please hit that like button down below, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. It goes a long way for the algorithm, really helps us to our goal of 100K this year. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything. You guys mean the world to me, and I will see you in a couple days. Thanks for everything. All right, peace.